In this video, guys, we're going to look at if you ever decide to stop trading, you'll still have a bunch of really useful skills that you can use with whatever endeavor you do afterwards. Stay tuned. Hey guys, warm welcome to you. All right, so many traders come along, they trade in the market, they decide it's not for them, or they decide they want a break. You know, there's nothing wrong with having a break. And actually, I know a handful of traders who have traded very actively, taken big, long breaks, kind of years worth of not trading, kind of keeping their eye in, maybe got a few investments, then coming back into it. And their performance when they did that was way better than when they started out. So there's no problem having a break. No problem in stepping back and doing something different, and that's just the way it is. Sometimes you might want to get involved in it, sometimes you might not want to. But if you decide to do that, or if you decide to never ever trade again, then you're always still going to have some skills that I think is very rare to get from any other endeavor. So the first one, guys, is the ability to quickly assess risk and reward. So very often, you know, we traders, we're quickly going, right, it's 3 to 1, it's 2 to 1, the probability is working is what's a good trade, what's a bad trade, what's a dangerous trade, and it can't help but that parallel through to everyday life. And you end up thinking a little bit more in terms of risk reward. Okay, so what's the risk reward to me speeding on this particular road? What's the risk reward to me doing this, doing that? And you start to think a little bit more in terms of what's the best possible outcome, what's the worst possible downside? Is that still good? Is that still worth it? And then going with it. So maybe that's just something that happens a little bit more with traders because it's such more of a monetary thing that as you come into life, you start to look at different things about it. So that's just one of them. Number two, guys, this is kind of getting to the meat of it now, better emotional control. So I think that if you've been trading for a while, you start to recognize things that really annoy you, things that really spike your emotions, and you become better at not so controlling emotions because we're humans and, you know, controlling them's not really what we're after, but almost recognizing that, hey, we're not letting them get the better of us. So recognizing if we're getting angry rather than it spiraling out and getting super frustrated, just recognizing that you've been here before, you've been frustrated before, you've been angry before, you've been sad before, and it's just the way it's going to be. And it's very challenging, you know, and you just got to be able to grab it. Whereas I think people who aren't in trading, and obviously not always the case, but don't necessarily realize when they're about to get angry, because you see road rage incidents all the time. People just take things way too far. And really, I think traders specifically may well go, hey, I recognize I'm getting angry here. You know, what can I do to prevent it? Because I've recognized this in trading and it's never ever served me in trading. So that's a good one. And three is the ability to observe your thoughts better. So as a trader, we're there and we're kind of thinking through what we're thinking in the markets, if that makes sense. So we're like, okay, what's the market going to do now? I want to get in, Okay, whoa, why are we thinking we want to get into this market? Why don't we wait for the price to come to us? And so we become much better as an observer into us and seeing what we're up to, as opposed to just going with the flow and letting life dictate how we react. We're much more kind of stepping back and seeing exactly how we're responding, so we can become a little bit more of a guiding hand, if you like, to how we want to respond. And that's something I think very unique to trading. You know, recognizing, you know, what you're doing, you're conscious and always stepping out and going, looking at yourself and going, well, how am I thinking? How am I feeling? And very often that can be handy in life as well if you're making, you know, a business decision, a relationship decision, or whatever it may be. Number four, that's less scared to take the right risks. Of course, in trading, when everything's looking good and it's a grade A play, we want to get our chips in. You know, we want to make as much money as possible for the least amount of risk possible. So when all the things are lining up and it looks great, we put the throttle down. Similarly, I think in life as well, you know, when the right risks are there, again, whatever field that may be, you know, when it's right and the reward, the downside is not too bad compared to the upside, then you go, right, I'm all in on this. This is well worth it. It's what the opportunity I was looking for. I am going for it. And being able to think, and perhaps if you weren't in the trading arena before, hadn't experienced that, not knowing that this was a rare setup, if you like, for want of a better word, and not understanding that, hey, actually, this is an opportunity I need to kind of commit to this to see if it was going to pay out for me. Fifth one, guys, is less attached to money. You can't help, I think, especially if you've been trading for a while, so we're far less attached to money. You're like, well, you know what, I made some, I lose some, especially, you know, when you're starting to up your size a bit, then it's it's not the money as much. It's the case of, okay, well, you know, I'm doing the process. I might lose some here, and maybe that's a significant amount to some people, but you're assuming you're going to make more back here, and over time it's going to iron out and you're going to be more profitable. And so I think that being less attached to money is often a good thing. Some people might disagree with me. Let me know you guys' thoughts in the comment section below, guys, about this one. But I think that generally, the less attachment you have to money, the better everything is. You know, if you can just think, and regardless of wealth or position, if you like, or how much money you actually have, less attachment to it means that it's potentially easier to accumulate, potentially less horrifying if you lose it, or if you have to spend out a big amount of money, you know, depending on what other scale you're on. So I think, just generally speaking, you know, respecting it, of course, understanding that the value it brings and what it can bring, but having less attachment to it definitely comes with being a trader, because it goes out so easily as it comes in so easily, and you start to recognize, well, actually it's just numbers on a screen, it's just how I'm behaving. So and that's number 6, guys, is right and wrong is the least valuable metrics. What I mean by this, so, you know, right or wrong, I think many times, especially perhaps men, we have to be right about stuff, and we kind of push this point. I think you've been trading a while, it's like, listen, it's not about being right or wrong. I might not be right. You know, I might be missing some information here, but that's the way I think about it at this moment in time. And it's not necessarily about pushing your argument forward and being, yes, it's definitely this way, because you recognize in the market, if you force that idea onto the market doesn't care less. And plus, you know, variables could change in an instant anyway. So I think, you know, that's a really handy thing as well. You know, it's not about being right or wrong so much. It's about, you know, doing the right thing, of course, but, you know, right and wrong is not the way of looking at it, as it's not really in trading either. Number 7, guys, life is one big risk and you can't anticipate everything. We all get caught out by some kind of black swan event, or some kind of tail event, or some kind of, you know, not necessarily a huge black swan like a flash crash, but, you know, a Trump tweet, for example. You're on the wrong side of a tweet and ends up stopping you out, and you recognize that, hey, I have to take risk. I'm aware of the risk. It's always going to be there. I can't dial out all the risk of everything I do. There's an inherent risk, and then you learn to accept it. And I think that generally trading has a positive, but these are just some things that I've kind of thought about, guys. But in a summary, I think that trading has a positive impact on your life. Now, you may not necessarily have a positive time in your trading before you decide not to carry on. That might be separate, but actually some of the things that you go through, the learning process, the ability to, you know, be more emotionally controlled and more looking into yourself, and all these other little things, I think have a positive impact on your life afterwards. Now, obviously, there's going to be a small amount of people who, you know, really don't do too well in trading and it has a real negative impact. I get that. But I think on the whole, if you're going through the experience and you're kind of sitting there for a reasonable period of time, you're not going crazy and having big swings in your P&L, then, you know, if you decide to kind of call it a day for a little bit and come back to it later, I think that you're still going to get a positive out of it. That's just my thoughts. Let me know thoughts, guys, in the comment section below. Have you kind of felt that you've improved certain things and good things in your life? Maybe you've been more disciplined. Okay, so this is a big one. Being more disciplined in your life because you've had to be in your trading. You know, what is it? And the final one, guys, of course, is trading discipline. I mean, this comes into some of these, but, you know, the discipline you have in trading definitely helps you in life. And let me know your thoughts on that as well. What you think, whether you become more disciplined in life, whether it's a better thing or a good thing or a bad thing. But I'm generally of the consensus that, hey, even if you don't perhaps make the money you want in trading, you're going to come back to it later on, you're going to get a bit of a break. Some of the attributes, the positive skill set that you learn from trading is only beneficial to whatever you're doing next. Take care, guys. Keep your risk managed. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.